Wynncraft. A word that seemingly has no meaning to a lot of people, but sparks joy and happiness to some. It's something that holds many great memories for so many of us. I don't even know where to start. No, seriously, give me the fucking script. Wynncraft's been around nearly as long as Minecraft. To be more specific, Wyn was created in 2011 and was released to the public in 2013, and has been making us amazed ever since its inception. I won't be going over the history of the server indicated by the title of the video, but if you do want to know more about Wynncraft's history, I recommend Kmaxie's video. I will leave him and his video in the description. I recommend watching his video if you want to know more about Wyn in general, but today I will be only reviewing the game itself. Alright, let's begin now. Well, let's start with the obvious basics. Wynncraft is an MMORPG made in Minecraft without any mods.
What the fuck?
It's all plugins, creative coding, an absolutely good texture pack, and a soundtrack to go with it. The introduction to the game is pretty well put together. You're put on a caravan, most likely to be executed later. But to the dismay of your Uber driver, the caravan breaks down and you begin your adventure. You meet 3 people on the side, the caravan driver, Tazim and Oladar, and the latter 2 will accompany you on your travels to Wyn. The tutorial does a good job of introducing you to the game and its world. Immediately sets up this dire tone of the game, right as you talk to the first quest NPC. Let me summarize it for you. The province of Wyn is having a tough time with the dead.
I require assistance!
That's why we kidnapped you from your home and brought you here to fight till death. A large-scale Pokemon battle, if you will. You'll also be introduced to the main currency, how NPCs behave, the bare-bones mechanics of the game, how armor and weapon system works, professions, cutscenes, and main interaction methods. When it comes to games, you can usually tell their quality judging by their introduction. Looking at the care and effort put into it, I can say Wyn starts off pretty strong. But the introduction doesn't end when you talk to Ragni's king and you receive your rewards. Oh no, it's only beginning. I could start listing the number of things Wyn doesn't introduce you right away, like the element system. You will gradually be introduced to them throughout your gameplay, and since this is a more complicated mechanic, the game gives you ample time to figure out what they are about. Elements are going to be a core part of your adventure and your progression throughout the game, and this could mean a difference between you dying or defeating a boss. Elements are also directly tied to your character upgrades, which can be purchased with skill points. You earn those skill points every time you level up your combat level, making professions entirely redundant. Well, more about professions later. You have 5 main character upgrades to purchase. Each upgrade represents one element in the game, those being strength as earth, dexterity as thunder, intelligence as water, defense as fire, and agility as air. These all have their respective uses, but on a casual playthrough you will only be upgrading defense, strength, and mana regen, and occasionally drop 1 or 2 on air and dexterity. That's because air and dexterity work the best when there is an entire set build around them. Without a build, they are just there, looking, watching you go over them, tormented. Why? Why is it always strength and mana? I wonder if he knows I'm here. Maybe there's a chance he's soaring right over me. Each element also has a powder variant that can be applied on your armor or weapons and boosts your elemental damage/resistance, depending on if you put it on a weapon or armor. Powders also have levels 1 to 6, and each powder level gives more elemental resistance or damage, again, depending on what you put it on. Elements doesn't only appear on your side, oh no my friend, the entire game makes use of elements. Various enemies are either weak or resistant to an element, making the gameplay more dynamic and making my wallet disappear buying a certain weapon that has that one element I need to kill that one goddamn fucking boss. Later on, even casual trash mobs have elemental resistance and weaknesses, which doesn't mean anything because you will still be attacking them with an elemental weapon they are specifically strong against. Good job, fuck-ass. Are you planning to extinguish fire? With more fire. Some mobs and bosses are entirely resistant against elements, but don't worry, these mobs only appear at the very end of the game, leaving you with only one option: the route of the filthy hippies. Neutral damage. Neutral damage is your all-around useful damage type, which is not an element. Neutral damage is very useful, but the use of elements are more effective, but of course, if you happen to have a weapon that's weak against a boss or an enemy, Neutral damage is always got you back. Or just cast a spell. Oh yeah, have I mentioned that there's spells in the MMORPG? Wow! Now the spell system is pretty bare bones, and you shouldn't expect too much. But in turn, the screen doesn't look like this. I don't even fucking know what's going on in here. Seriously, simplicity just works for Wynn's favor. Simple mouse combinations might not be the most exciting thing, but it's effective. Every class has 4 spells. 2 offensive, 1 passive, and 1 defensive. Except for Shaman and Mage, F. These spells are activated with the correct mouse combination, left and right respectively. Spells cannot be upgraded, rather they upgrade themselves after you reach a certain combat level. I also have to mention that all your spells max out on level 68, which is quite disappointing if you consider that you were only halfway through the game at that point. But due to balancing issues, this seems to be the only way of distributing spell upgrades. Though sometimes you might feel like your spells could use one last upgrade around the endgame, because you'll die a lot, and what's a good game without death? That's why Wynn has a punishment mechanic based entirely on how many times you die. I'm not even fucking kidding about that. There's this one thing called soul points. When you start your adventure, your max soul point count is 10, and as you level up it will steadily increase to 15. Now that sounds great, until you hear that you lose 2 soul points per death. And the more curious of you might have hovered over your soul point count and read about the punishment mechanic it has, the more you die, the more equipment you lose. This can be very off-putting and really annoying at times because it's not that mobs are hard to kill, it's a sheer number that might overwhelm a player when farming. But even during quests, it can be a real annoyance, especially when you are particularly low on soul points. Mate, that sounds absolutely fucking atrocious. If I die a lot early, I'll always be in constant fear of losing my stuff. Well, no. You regain soul points every time the sun rises in the mornings, and you will gain 1 soul point. I fucking hate this game. Yeah, just deal with it. But to make up for this design decision, you can AFK in a world until the world restarts, just like in real life. Or you can quit and wait out until your soul point regen. As a note though, you will regen less soul points if you quit the game, that being 1 soul point per real life hour. Phew, okay, alright. Let's get to professions now, because I've teased it a bit earlier. Professions are one of those game mechanics that makes you question, why is this in the game again? It adds no value or enjoyment to the game, rather it gets you bored right after you start. Professions are pretty useless, and it's kind of baffling that professions are only good when maxed out, which you can't even do until you literally reach the maximum level required to explore certain areas and begin collecting and leveling up professions. Professions are the pure definition of boring, mindless, and frankly just useless throughout most of the game. Notice how I said most. You see, professions do have a place, but it's way too much effort for too little. Actually, I can define professions to you with only sound. Let me demonstrate it right now, actually. Yeah. Professions could have had such a potential if executed correctly. Like, if you cut down a tree 10 to 20 times bigger than you, you don't just get 0.0001% of the tree. Dropping your fishing rod into a fish-infested water will kill all fish but one? Where's the goddamn logic? Yeah, I know, a person complaining about farming in an MMORPG, how great, am I right? But professions seriously need to change to be even remotely fun. Right now, professions are just there to enhance your immersion and for people to flex about reaching fishing level 132. God, these fucking people belonging to the insane asylum. I hold too many grudges against professions, because I will never get back the time I spent on them. And also, because there are people on Earth that are insane enough to actually max out professions. You'll be able to buy whatever ingredients you want from the marketplace. Marketplace is basically just a server-wide shop where players can sell their shit. They can also overprice and underprice their items depending on the knowledge of the player. So you will often find good deals on weapons and accessories. Or if you're the social type, fucking weirdo, you can hop on WC1 and go to that list. It's the same thing as the normal marketplace, but now you have to actually tolerate other people. Back to topic. Professions do have one good thing though, and it's the ingredient pouch. Surprisingly enough, the ingredient pouch is quite useful, even if the professions they are used for are quite useless. You'll pick up a lot of junk from the ground throughout your farming sessions and quest lines, and the pouch conveniently packs them into a separate inventory space to keep your main one clean. It also comes with the feature to sell you stuff you collected inside it. Ever since the ingredient pouch was made, you can finally sell unwanted junk right from your inventory. God, I wasted so much time talking about these features, I forgot about quests. The main part of the game. Damn. Bad review. Quests, like in any good MMORPG, are a vital part of your game and will make up 90% of your combat experience. Most quests consist of player goes here, does stuff, then returns to start NPC. With progression, these quests get more complicated to a degree where you really have to question how people find this shit out. There are also cutscenes in the game, surprisingly enough. They are mainly used for exposition, or to show you how good Wynn was before you got here, further building on the lore and story of the game. Oh, don't you worry, there's a lot of lore. It's kinda vague, but you can still understand it. Sometimes. Quests are enjoyable, and they won't get repetitive due to good writing and flow. And you can take that from a guy who spent 500 hours of the game constantly playing through it. Even though I criticize Wynn for sometimes having unnecessarily long dialogues, it's rare, and whenever you do encounter these quests, it's not a big of an inconvenience because of one feature. Hold right click. Deja vu, I've been in this place before. This way you don't have to read through or listen to mentally unstable villagers every time you play through the game. I know you'd rather spend your time murdering them. I see you over there. After you complete a quest, you will be rewarded with a hefty amount of combat XP. A weapon, an armor, or an accessory. Ooh, accessories, what's that? Accessories are mainly used for boosting stats like mana regen, strength, and defense, but they are also commonly used in dedicated element sets. Accessories are much rarer than normal item drops, and can be only acquired from loot 3 or higher chests. And most of the time, you do find an accessory item from a mob or something. It's most likely be a set item for the fucking morph set. That's why legendary accessories and legendaries in general have ridiculous prices on the market. Oh yeah, items. The item system in Wynn is pretty simple, and you will not get confused whatsoever. Trust me. An item usefulness depends on how good the stats are on the weapon, because weapon stats are not set. Fuck.
There are 7 item tiers in the game: normal, unique, rare, legendary, fabled, mythic, and the aforementioned set.
Mythic being the most rare, and normal being fucking annoying. And I really hope you're a lucky person, because you will need it. Alright, now I can talk about the map design, probably the magnum opus of the game. There's just this outstanding quality to the map design. The talent, the detail, and the care put into it is astonishing. Hill at the end of the map, where 99% of the players never visit. Little hut with exclusive NPC. Random hidden cave, campsite inside. Inconspicuous hill, campfire at the top. Attic of a copy-paste looking house, excellent details inside. I swear, there's no place on that map that doesn't have any detail. It really makes you feel like you're in a completely different world. A completely different living and surviving world. The beauty of Wynn can't be put into words. It's something you need to experience yourself. I'm telling you, after this video ends, go and play Wynn. There might be some bugs here and there, like this. I took this screenshot when the Crocus update came out. How interesting. Alright. Time to address the sound design. As you can guess, most of the sounds in the game consist of default Minecraft sounds, but they do have variations and edits to them, slowing audio and mixing them in different ways to make them stand out. Yeah, they might be the default Minecraft audio, but it gets changed so much that you can pretty much call them original at that point. Weapons and their spells have clear sounding indications when they are being used, which is good. You will not get confused between mob sounds and your spellcasting. And what's good sound design without music? Glorious. Real. I cannot overstate how great the soundtrack is. Even if the server sometimes can't catch up with the track due lag, every piece is well matched to their environment, and they're not only themed, but they're very catchy also. Let's take the desert theme for example. Now the track I'm going to show you isn't in the game right now. It was at some point, but I'm gonna show it anyway. Traveling at Dusk. Is so much better than the current Stirring the Sands. I really don't know why they decided to replace such an iconic and great track with the current one. Rest in peace, Traveling at Dusk. You will be remembered as the better desert theme. The tracks are made with note blocks, but if you search them up on YouTube, you might discover versions of early music that isn't note blocks. You can imagine all the Wynncraft YouTubers using those under their videos. But good sound design doesn't make a monster scary until it does something. Wynn's AI is pretty standard, if not a bit handicapped. Before monsters detect you, they just walk around or just jump in place. Kinda reminds me of old Minecraft, where creepers and normal mobs would just randomly jump around. After the player has been detected, they will do an attack according to what attributes they have. Melee, ranged, or you're fucking fucked. Melee mobs are pretty primitive, just walking towards you, not caring about if there's a fucking ravine between you and them. Ranged mobs are a different kind of breed. They'll stand still, like a sentry gun, and will never move unless your spell knocks them around. They're also pretty goddamn accurate. They are also the most deadly out of the two, as you can guess. Oh yeah, and the third. Yeah, those are bosses. Everything I mentioned so far makes up the game, but what gives the game itself life? That's righty boys, it's texture pack time. I talked a bit about Wynncraft's texture pack in my last video, so I'm going to quote myself and maybe build on those a bit further. Wynn has more of a bleak tone, and the texture pack reflects this with the gritty textures. Blocks and slabs are used for weapons. Charms and jewelry are also blocks. The pack hides this and transforms them into items/models. The rest is done by the plugins in the server. It's really great to see the artists just doing their best on making this style, and I can really appreciate the work they put into this. Overall, I think Wynncraft should be on your server list no matter what. It's a game you have to play at least once for you to earn extra respect points from me. I really can't put it into proper words how well this game is made. It's certainly a unique experience, especially now, so many years after release. And it always gets better. And when I was gathering clips for this video, I've actually run into one of the owners of the server, Salted. He was trying to help out a crowd of people who managed to crash an entire world by running a dungeon with like 30 people. He also looked at me for like 0.001 seconds, so I really appreciate him blessing me with his looks. Also, the active developers, I guess. Wynncraft deserves a 9 out of 10 from me. The professions really need to change for me to give it a 10 out of 10. But besides these issues, the game is a goddamn fucking masterpiece. Now go. Go and play this game. You will not regret it. Thank you very much for watching this video. I want to give a shout out to Yoshi, who inspired me to make this video and actually helped me during the script writing phase, and to the guy who put an anime cat girl on their Wynncraft review thumbnail. I cannot say this with a straight face. As far as I know, I am the only one who reviewed this game properly, but do correct me in the comments. The only video I found when searching up for Wynncraft reviews was from 6 years ago, and the only one that was made fairly recently was made by a guy who only has a total of 1 hour in the game. He's also the same guy who put an anime cat girl on the thumbnail. May God have mercy on his soul. Anyways, make sure to
whatever.
And like, perhaps. Follow my Twitter, where I post my art and teasers for future videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.